Tonight, Narelle to unleash hell. The far north braces for potentially the strongest cyclone in a decade.
The PM calls an emergency meeting of National Cabinet over the petrol crisis.
Iran strikes near an Australian base in Dubai. No one hurt, but it was close.
Manslaughter charges over an alleged vigilante truck chase that claimed the life of an innocent driver.
The new test to detect postpartum depression before it happens.
And some Sam Kerr brilliance sends the Matildas into the Asian Cup final.
Live across Queensland, this is 7 News with Max Futcher and Sarah Greenhalgh.
Good evening. Cyclone Narelle is hurtling towards far north Queensland tonight as one of the strongest cyclones in recent history.
She could reach Category 5 strength before smashing the Cape York coast on Friday. Residents have been evacuated from remote communities as authorities warn of potential loss of life.
The remote community of Wudjil and police door knocking ahead of the monster.
We're just here making sure that you guys are aware of the weather and what's happening with that cyclone.
Bearing down on a massive target, Cape York, far north Queensland in the firing line. Narelle forecast to cross the coast as a Category 5.
The situation is evolving. It's a serious situation. This may be the biggest system that many people have seen in living memory.
Menacing remote towns and communities across the Cape, and the warnings are dire and alarming.
We should not underestimate the potential for the loss of life. A piece of debris being propelled at 100 kilometres or more will likely kill you, so do not be outside.
Narelle's expected to make landfall on Friday, bringing winds between 200 and 250 kilometres an hour and rainfall from 200 to possibly 450 millimetres, with flash flooding possible as far south as Ingham.
It will bring severe impacts to far north Queensland in the coming days.
The urgency before the emergency. This chopper from Cohen evacuated residents of coastal Port Stewart, with Cohen in Narelle's direct path.
It's basically battening down and weathering the storm until it passes.
It has the potential to cause harm.
We've also had 2 to 3 weeks now of very heavy rain, so we are very soaked at the moment.
Extra police, paramedics, fireys, swift water crews have been sent in, not made any easier by the fuel shortage.
Communities need to know we're taking every opportunity to make sure that every available drop is there, because they're going to need it before, during and after.
Wudjil is slap bang in the danger zone, ready for the onslaught. Narelle's impacts are likely to be huge, crossing the Cape over the Gulf into the Northern Territory and then WA. There is a long way to go. The threat is now getting closer. A cyclone warning has been issued by the Bureau of Meteorology, and the area that it covers extends from Lockhart River to Cape Tribulation. Those communities can expect conditions to intensify in the next 24 hours, and emergency alerts have already been issued to a number of them this afternoon, telling residents to prepare now. In Port Douglas, where we are tonight, it's technically out of the warning zone, but it doesn't take much movement from Cyclone Narelle's forecast path to put what is quite a large community back in the firing line. Apart from a little bit of wind, a little bit of rain, the only sign of a cyclone here is the impact to tourism. We went for a drive through the town centre this afternoon and it is quieter than usual. Operators say they've been fielding cancellations from panicked tourists for days now. So while they won't see the heaviest rain or the strongest wind likely here in Port Douglas, Cyclone Narelle has already done damage to a town that relies so heavily on tourism. Max and Sarah.
Jade Richards in the far north tonight. And Tony Auden, we've already reached a critical threshold in Narelle's development.
Yes, Max, we're really switching from forecast into reality right now. As you can see on the satellite here, Narelle is just starting to develop an eye this afternoon, so the engine driving the system is much more powerful. From here, we can see that rapid intensification at times all the way up until landfall. So no surprises, the Bureau do have Narelle at Category 5 early on Friday morning here. Thankfully, the uncertainty area, this grey band here, is still fairly small. So on this track, the bigger tourist hubs of Cairns and Port Douglas would miss that really nasty wind, but everyone in the tropics should stay on top of updates. I'll be back soon with the latest.
Thanks, Tony. Anthony Albanese has summoned David Crisafulli and every other state and territory leader to thrash out a response to Australia's fuel crisis.
But as the Middle East war puts our economy under real threat, the government is now bracing for a worst-case scenario.
At a suburban Melbourne servo,
this guy just filled up like $810 worth of diesel in this barrel.
$812.03, the Bowser says, for 320 litres.
My message to Australians as well is to not take more fuel than you need. That is how you can help. Think of others.
A message that isn't getting through to everyone, as he calls an emergency meeting of National Cabinet for tomorrow.
Making sure that we deal with the issues that Australia and indeed the world is confronting.
The biggest issue, fuel supplies. The meeting to appoint a national fuel czar to coordinate the distribution of supplies with representatives in each state, prioritising rural areas.
We do have fuel security. All of our ships have arrived at this point in time, but we've had a surge in demand.
The Premier's wanting two things:
information and affordable fuel. That's what we need.
That, as Treasury warns, the global impact of this war could blow a multi-billion-dollar hole in the federal budget. Predicting it will wipe between 0.2 and 0.6% of GDP, $6 to $16 billion, as interest rates rise for the second straight month and the Reserve Bank governor warns if inflation keeps climbing, a recession is possible.
Australia is well positioned.
The point that the Reserve Bank's forecasts make is that they're not anticipating a recession, nor is the government.
But are you spending too much? Because every man and his dog is saying that.
Well, we're looking for more savings.
And now, in the fog of war, needs to find more. One positive development, European Commission head Ursula von der Leyen will visit Australia next week, raising hopes that she'll finally formalise a rich free trade deal with Europe in Canberra on Tuesday. Beef, dairy and sugar have long been the sticking points, but a desire on both sides to build new alliances as a hedge to Donald Trump's tariff walls seems to have put those concerns on the shelf. An agreement worth $10 billion a year to Australia for farmers, manufacturers and the government. That's one sweet deal. Max.
Mark Riley in Canberra. An Australian airbase has become the apparent target of an Iranian strike, and not for the first time. A projectile striking right by the Al Minhad airbase in the UAE, causing damage to some of its facilities.
The Prime Minister insists everyone is safe, but it's dragged our country even closer to the conflict.
As Iran's fury engulfs the Middle East, the UAE hit by more than 2,000 drones and missiles in 18 days. At 2:15 this morning, one slammed into a road outside Al Minhad near Dubai. Our Middle East headquarters, the base housing about 100 Australians, the fire damaged medical and accommodation facilities.
I can confirm that no Australian personnel were injured and everyone is absolutely safe.
This after a drone struck the base earlier in the conflict. And Australia has been caught in a very different burst of fury from President Trump. Incensed, Western governments turned down his calls for a naval coalition to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Most of our NATO allies don't want to get involved. We no longer need the NATO countries' assistance. We never did. Likewise, Japan, Australia or South Korea. We do not need the help of anyone.
I think NATO's making a very foolish mistake, and I've long said that, I wonder whether or not NATO would ever be there for us. So this was a great test, because we don't need them, but they should have been there.
I thought it was a petulant post from a president under immense pressure.
I'm not aware of any specific formal request for us to send ships into the Strait of Hormuz. It's not something that we've been considering.
Tim Lester, 7 News.
Live now to Chris Reason in the Middle East. Chris, America's ally in this war, Israel, is claiming a valuable scalp.
Good evening to you, Sarah. Yeah, as Donald Trump cops the political heat back home and the anger of allies abroad here in Israel, the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the IDF continue their relentless chase of what's left of Tehran's leadership. 2 more assassinations from Israel overnight. One of the men, the de facto boss of the nation in the absence of the new Ayatollah. But those 2 killings may well have just set back any chance of a peace breakthrough. Ali Larijani 5 days ago brazenly walking Tehran streets, almost daring the Israelis to target him. They did.
Tonight, the security chief confirmed dead, along with the chief of the Basij secret police, wiped from the Israeli Prime Minister's assassination list.
It's a punch card. Today, I raised 2 names on the punch cards. And you see how many more to go.
Larijani's seen as a moderate by some, a potential deal maker, but also considered responsible for ordering the deaths of thousands of protesters in January.
One of their top person was, they say, a lot of people say their actual top was killed yesterday.
But today, the US president facing losses from his own administration. Joe Kent, counter-terrorism boss and MAGA recruit, resigning in protest. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, he said. We started this war due to pressure from Israel. It didn't stop the onslaught on Iran overnight, a person targeted from above in Tehran. One former Israeli Special Forces soldier telling 7 News they are trained to be ruthless, uncompromising.
In my 12 years in Special Forces, I always go bam, 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 bam. Each bullet has an address.
In Lebanon, Israel hitting more claimed Hezbollah targets, but the death toll now over 900. In Baghdad, retaliation. The US Embassy hit with Iranian rockets and drones. The Revolutionary Guard claiming revenge for Larijani's death. On Israel, they launched a barrage of multiple warhead missiles. 2 killed, a couple in their 70s. Despite all the talk of Iran running low on missiles...
OK, this is our safe room.
Night after night, they rained down on the region.
Can you ever be 100% safe?
Well, you can never be 100% safe. War is war.
Sydney lawyer Lisa Segelov's safe room with metal windows and a jackhammer in case they have to break themselves out. In Israel, Chris Reason, 7 News.
An Narangba man has been charged with manslaughter, accused of chasing an alleged scrap metal thief in a wild pursuit on the Bruce Highway. The dangerous act claimed the life of an innocent young man, with police issuing a warning to vigilantes.
42 years old, charged with manslaughter, Stephen Wayne Papworth is accused of a vigilante-style chase that turned deadly. Police allege 1 month ago he was chasing alleged scrap metal thief Russell James Hughes on the Bruce Highway, heading south in the northbound lanes. Andre Roberts was driving home from work when Mr Hughes collided with him head-on. The 26-year-old from Caboolture died instantly. Mr Hughes was charged with manslaughter and a string of stealing offences. While Mr Papworth wasn't involved in the crash, he was charged too.
The acts were so grossly negligent, they constitute manslaughter.
He's also charged with dangerous driving, causing grievous bodily harm over his pursuit of Mr Hughes.
It's understood Mr Papworth was working here at this Narangba scrap metal business on the night of February 17 when he saw Mr Hughes and gave chase.
Mr Papworth has been released on bail to face Caboolture Magistrates Court next month. Mr Hughes remains in hospital and will face court in May.
Please let the police do their job. Don't get involved.
And don't take the law into your own hands. Rachel Baxter, 7 News.
A second Brisbane teenager has died after falling while hiking Mount Beerwah in the Glasshouse Mountains on Sunday. 18-year-old Jack Futcher died this morning after being airlifted in a critical condition to the Sunshine Coast University Hospital. He slipped trying to help his girlfriend, 18-year-old L'Oreal, who died at the scene. The pair were walking with L'Oreal's twin sister.
The inquiry into the CFMEU has been told the union had Cross River Rail firmly in its sights. The probe heard allegations of a campaign designed to derail the $19 billion project.
This powerful probe has heard allegations of violence, intimidation, now claims the CFMEU spread false fear.
It was a pretty standard practice of the CFMEU to just put misinformation into the marketplace.
Health warnings about Cross River Rail, asbestos, heat stress, silica dust. The boss of the $19 billion train track says all concerns were investigated and found to be incorrect.
They made a very clear message that they were going to target the project.
The inquiry heard the troubled union ramped up its anti-Cross River Rail campaign in 2019, the same week the builder, CPB, struck a deal with rival, the Australian Workers' Union.
To undermine the credibility of the project, the delivery authority, the contractors.
They called for Labor ministers and the contractor to be sacked before union leader Michael Ravbar launched a personal attack on project boss Graham Newton, calling him a pretender, fraud and incompetent.
I can't think of a single workplace which that type of behaviour would be acceptable.
The inquiry heard of all the union's interests. Contractor CPB was a serial target. Its general manager is due to give evidence at a later date. Garth Burley, 7 News.
The Matildas are tantalisingly close to the major tournament glory they've craved for so long.
Steve, they've booked a place in the Asian Cup final.
Oh, thanks to some brilliance from Sam Kerr, Sarah. With last night's semi-final against China deadlocked at 1-1, the inspirational Aussie captain secured our spot in the decider.
Leaving Perth with tickets to Sydney, bound for Asian Cup glory. Sam Kerr put the nail in China's coffin.
Kerr forward, great run from Sam Kerr. She can just reach the touch. The return pass, well, that's perfection.
Threading a tiny gap from a near impossible angle.
And the crowd love it.
Putting this golden generation into their first international final since 2018. Emily Van Egmond's 170th Matildas cap, the most ever.
It's right up there. I mean, I can't believe it. I honestly can't believe it.
Coach Joe Montemuro loved Kerr's finish, but preferred the team build-up of Caitlin Ford's goal.
Obviously, the first one is very much to my liking. The second one was a bit of a transition moment, but Sam was amazing to finish it.
A controversial yellow card on Mackenzie Arnold had Australia on the ropes, 1-1.
Sends Mackenzie Arnold the wrong way.
In the 58th minute, from deep in our half, Kerr struck gold.
That's why she's a world-class player. You can be quiet for 89 minutes.
Tonight, they're Sydney bound, ready to claim the first trophy since the 2010 Asia Cup, when Kerr was just 16 years old, playing the winner of tonight's clash between Japan and South Korea this Saturday.
These girls are like family to me, so it would be a dream come true.
Tom Saker, 7 News.
Kissing his radio job goodbye. Next, Kyle Sandilands sacked and angry. Jackie O has her say.
Chilling new video from the night of a Sydney grandfather's kidnapping.
How dreams could help predict your risk of dementia. That's after 6:30.
And
coming through.
Meet the Gold Coast's father and son surfing duo.
A world first made right here in Queensland. The new blood test for pregnant women.
If these mums are flagged early in their pregnancy, they may not go on to develop postpartum depression.
How you can access it now.
How a simple sample could change or save lives.
A 7 News exclusive coming up.
Investigators have released new security video of 3 men wanted for questioning over the kidnapping and murder of Sydney grandfather Chris Bagsarian. 2 men have already been charged and refused bail over the alleged murder of the 85-year-old. It's believed to have been a case of mistaken identity.
Pro-Palestine protesters are considering a High Court challenge to take on the state government's controversial hate speech laws, banning 2 phrases. 33-year-old Liam Parry was one of 2 people arrested last week.
All avenues are being considered, including a constitutional challenge to these laws. These are some of the biggest attacks on freedom of speech in Australia for decades.
The offence carries a maximum penalty of 2 years in prison.
Shock jock Kyle Sandilands has been formally sacked after weeks of controversy. But, as expected, he's not going quietly, refusing to accept the decision that officially spells the end of the Kyle and Jackie O show.
Her radio contract shredded, but leaving a Bondi salon today, Jackie O still looks $1 million.
Any plans to start your own radio, Jackie?
No. And can still put on a show.
Astrology show?
Carl Sandilands can too, performing one job on Australian Idol last night.
And for now, I still have the other job.
But not for long. By early morning on the ARN website, where its 2 SAC stars are smiling bright, confirmation his contract was toast. As a result, the Carl and Jackie O show will no longer be presented.
It's a history-making day for us.
FM radio has never known anything like it. No one has lasted longer, rated higher or made more money. But after its Melbourne misfire, constant controversy and an advertiser boycott, ARN had heard enough.
Big deal.
Sandilands unleashed in a statement today. "I don't accept it," he wrote. "I've done everything ARN asked. They didn't want to fix this, so it's over to my lawyers."
They'll go to mediation, then they'll probably have to consider court.
Sandilands is chasing a contract payout of up to $90 million. Lawyers are betting on $20 million.
Something between $17 to $22 million is probably a reasonable amount.
The same for Jackie O, who's now also looking to sue. But after last month's bust-up, the two are talking.
But I also do believe that she has no desire to actually work with him again.
As for Carl, who spent the day holed up at his Vaucluse bunker,
I don't think another network is going to pick him up. I think it's too problematic. I think his next destination will be a subscription podcast.
Once you're out of radio, all you can do is sell socks at Lowe's. At Lowe's!
ARN's share price was today unmoved as investors sit tight. Its megastars and their mega salaries now off the books. But the next big question is the audience about to walk as well.
It's quite devastating.
I also kind of believe that they are way past their prime.
There are a lot of those listeners now who don't quite know where to go because there is no other show that is like it.
Sam Payne, 7 News.
The battle intensifies over the future of the Coorparoo Bowls Club. Bowls Queensland finally responds to rumours of a sell-off. Exclusive details ahead.
A rail crossing crackdown as cars crash into trains full of tourists in Cairns.
How Queensland doctors are predicting postpartum depression before it happens.
And coming up in sport, Webby and Gilly with this week's edition of NRL Insider.
Despite the obvious risk, Queensland drivers are dicing with death at railway crossings. One vehicle ploughs into the Kuranda Scenic Railway at Grove Street in Cairns. Another driver blatantly ignores the red flashing lights before getting clipped at Upwood Street. Tourists were on the train at the time. The videos were released by Queensland Rail as a lesson to motorists.
If you pull out in front of that train, it cannot stop in time. It can't swerve out of the way. The driver can only but watch what's about to happen in front of him.
Drivers can be slapped with a $500 on-the-spot fine or more if infrastructure is damaged.
The Coorparoo Bowls Club has been a cornerstone of the community for almost a century. Tonight, confirmation it's on the market.
Bowls Queensland has revealed it's in talks with interested buyers, tired, it says, of propping up the club.
Nestled among high-rises in one of Brisbane's hottest suburbs, 6,000 square metres of prime land, today a bowling green, tomorrow a golden opportunity for developers.
There's no sale, there's no contract on the site at all. There's interested parties.
At Bowls Queensland's annual general meeting, confirmation the Coorparoo Club is up for sale.
It comes down to the finances. There's 270 clubs around Queensland that are subsidising Coorparoo.
Bowls Queensland bought the club for $1 in 2009. It says it's since cleared its debts, charged below market rent and maintained the property, putting its support at $1.3 million over 16 years. Experts tip a sale could be worth 30 times that. Opponents of the sale reject Bowls Queensland's assessment.
Not only is this club sustainable, it's successful, it's profitable, it's doing well on every single metric.
Noting the club made $100,000 in profit last year.
There are other options on the table. Bowls Queensland need to look at those.
The clubhouse is already heritage listed. Now there's a push to protect the greens as well. If that succeeds, any value to developers could be wiped out overnight.
It would certainly restrict what they can do because that history and that legacy has to be protected.
A final role to save a local treasure. Michael Hammond, 7 News.
Former Australian of the Year and cancer researcher Professor Richard Scolyer has given a heartbreaking update on his own cancer fight, saying his brain tumour has progressed. He's currently participating in the Tour de Cure, telling Mark Barretta on Sunrise he's grateful to still be active and contributing to the fight against cancer.
I'm very pleased and happy that I can still be doing stuff, but I guess down the track, we'll make the most of life, try and make a difference as long as I can.
Professor Scolyer says the glioblastoma, which he was diagnosed with in 2023, is now affecting his brain function, but assures us it's not the end of the road and he loves a challenge.
King Charles is under pressure to cancel his visit to the US for the 250th anniversary of American independence, with Donald Trump loudly voicing his irritation with the UK and the Epstein scandal. Some fear His Majesty could be walking into a sticky diplomatic situation.
St Patrick's Day on one side of the Atlantic. Princess Kate hands out sprigs of shamrock. On the other, in front of Ireland's Prime Minister, Donald Trump takes his latest swipe at Britain's Prime Minister.
Winston Churchill. And, unfortunately, Keir is not Winston Churchill.
An awkward Oval Office moment like this, precisely what the palace is looking to avoid during His Majesty's all but confirmed US visit next month.
I do look forward to seeing the King.
It was just yesterday when Donald Trump appeared to confirm King Charles was going ahead with his state visit to the US. But with the backdrop of a diplomatically divisive war in Iran, British MPs are calling for the trip to be delayed or cancelled.
If you go to the US, it looks like you're not only supporting Donald Trump, but you're supporting Donald Trump's policies.
The added element of jeopardy, the US president's ties to Jeffrey Epstein, the very thing that saw the king exile his brother Andrew. A process nearing completion with moving trucks arriving at his new home, Marsh Farm. But despite these potential pitfalls, the royal visit is expected to go ahead.
I think it will, because the alternative is to cancel it, and cancelling it really puts the so-called special relationship between the UK and the USA right in the bin.
In London, Ben Downey, 7 News.
And there was a royal rendezvous at the Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne today. King Frederick and Australia's own Queen Mary dropping in on patients and staff.
Oh my God, I never thought I'd get to meet her. She was absolutely gorgeous.
It was a great visit at the hospital this morning, and we also had an opportunity to just say hello to some of those that are being treated in that world-class hospital.
They also toured the Murdoch Children's Research Institute, learning about life-saving heart tissue research.
Our Winter Paralympians have landed to a hero's welcome at Sydney Airport with cheers from a sea of green and gold fans. Ben Tudhope, the Australian star of the Games, received plenty of fanfare. The 26-year-old overcame a dislocated shoulder to win silver in the snowboard cross and bronze in the banked slalom.
Two angry drivers have stopped traffic. Next, the unexplained road rage that ended as quickly as it began.
The link between your dreams and dementia.
Mesmerising pictures as lava spills into the ocean.
And it might be the cutest thing you'll see today, the father and son riding waves together.
Fuel relief's here. This week, 7 News is giving away $20,000 worth of petrol nationwide. Jump onto 7news.com.au/free fuel now and enter tonight's code word SERVO for your chance to win a $250 voucher. And be watching tomorrow for another chance to enter.
Hello. AusPost says online shoppers are clicking add to cart like it's going out of fashion, with online shopping growing almost 14% over 12 months, with Australians spending $82 billion online in 2025. Individual purchases are cheaper, but we're making far more of them. Big leadership moves at big resources companies. Brandon Craig was named CEO of BHP, replacing Mike Henry and bringing 25 years of experience at the company in operational and corporate leadership roles. Woodside also has a new CEO, with acting boss Liz Westcott now the permanent replacement for Meg O'Neill at Australia's biggest oil and gas producer. On the markets, the ASX 200 closed up as oil prices paused and attention turns to the United States' upcoming interest rate decision, the Aussie dollar buying 71 US cents.
Thanks, James. Road rage has erupted into a full-on brawl in Adelaide, with the pair involved having zero regard for everyone stuck behind them. Two cars were seen tailgating before both drivers jumped out and started fighting in the middle of the road. After they broke away, both men got back in their cars and drove off. Fire has erupted on the roof of a building in New York City. Flames and smoke billowed from the high-rise in Manhattan as thousands gathered for the city's St Patrick's Day parade. It took several hours to extinguish. A police officer suffered minor injuries.
Now to mesmerising pictures of a volcanic eruption on France's Reunion Island. Lava spilling out of the crater has now reached the Indian Ocean, producing smoke along the coastline, a sight not seen in almost 2 decades. The spectacle has attracted hundreds of tourists.
Well, is there any better example of a quintessential Gold Coast childhood? 4-year-old Zeffie Burke could surf before he could walk. Now he's attracting attention from around the globe and bringing Dad along for the ride.
The two surfers in a pod on one board. It's not your traditional way to catch a wave, but there's nothing traditional about father and son duo Jordan and Zeffie. The now 4-year-old learnt to surf before he could walk.
He's been on the board since he was about 1, but then he's been on my back and been sort of tandem surfing since he's about 2.
Latching onto Dad's shoulders, he swung around, head on with the sea. When they're not in the ocean, you can almost bet they're near it, or find them here on skate ramps and tackling dunes in tandem. Their adventures
got 5 bubbles and it's popping out there.
Captured and posted online.
It started out as just something to do together, and now it's sort of grown into probably our favourite thing to do, I'd say.
From it all, Zeffie has a pretty good idea of who he wants to become.
Kelly Slater, John Florence, Mick Fanning, Mason Ho.
Tandem surfing is still firmly in the niche category of sports. There are competitive tournaments. LA is even considering hosting a demonstration for its 2028 Olympics. As for Brisbane 2032, we'll have to wait and see.
I just want him to have fun. Like, that's the most important thing about it, is that he has fun.
Their next ocean outing.
Oh, probably in an hour. I'm a full-time surf dad and a part-time recruiter.
And he's found a surfing star. Declan Milton, 7 News.
Well, there might be more to your strange dreams than you think. A new study has found adults in their 60s who experience frequent disturbing dreams are almost 4 times more likely to develop dementia. The correlation wasn't found outside the age group, and researchers admit more work is needed to understand the link.
It could be a huge relief for new mums ahead Australia's world-first test to predict postpartum depression and even prevent it. It's the brainchild of a Queensland scientist.
And don't miss the Brisbane man taking on a Mount Everest world record. That's in Sunnyside with Sam, coming up soon.
But first, some sport with Steve.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. Good day, everyone. Coming up, the NRL Insider team gets stuck into the league latest as the battling Broncos head south to confront their long-running Melbourne Hoodoo. And forget Michael Maguire's job. This is the man with the toughest coaching gig in Brisbane sport. The Broncos are heading into a storm front that could send their season into a whirlwind 0-3 start. Here's Ron Welch and the NRL Insiders.
Melbourne in Melbourne. It's arguably the most daunting road trip in the NRL, especially for an out-of-form Brisbane. They haven't won in the Victorian capital for 10 years, losing 9 straight, and Adam Reynolds won't play after being a late withdrawal, despite Michael Maguire naming him yesterday and confidently telling 7 News his ribs are okay and he was right to suit up. Ben Hunt will take over at halfback. So let's bring in the NRL Insiders, Webby and Gilly. Gents, all that, plus facing a team probably still stinging after last year's grand final result.
Well, Ryan, I'm still stinging from the fact that Madge Maguire assured me yesterday that Renault was definitely going to play. But anyway, that is one more challenge for the Broncos. The bigger part of their challenge is the fact that they've got to go to Melbourne and play where we haven't won for 10 years. The bigger part of that challenge is the fact that it is a rampant Melbourne who have started the season so magnificently. Gilly, one non-negotiable for Broncos players is that their defence must improve and improve a lot.
Yeah, no doubt about that, Webby. Benny Hunt and Ezra Mam together. I like them in the halves, and I'm pretty sure they'll do a great job. But you're right. In halves, when you work with them, if they get their defence right, the rest of their game goes through the roof.
Absolutely. And Michael Maguire was at pains yesterday to remind me that he has got a group of very talented footballers. They just need to find their groove again.
It's amazing how the expectations come straight back, and it was even before we kicked off. I mean, that's what the club brings. The answers are right in front of us, and as a playing group, they're definitely diving into that, which is why it's so great to work with this group. I've got some strong characters, strong leaders. They all want to win.
Adam Reynolds isn't the only big name battling a rib injury. Mitch Crone has been at Dolphins training this afternoon, where one of their big guns is racing the clock.
Yeah, Tom Flegler, Rowan, who 3 days ago was no chance of facing the Sharks, and while he failed to take part in any contact training today, will be given until Friday's captain's run to prove he can do what Reynolds can't and play through the pain of a rib cartilage injury.
Yeah, I don't know, it's pretty crazy, so we'll see what happens. He just brings that intensity, not just in the games but training as well, and pretty sure they're going to give him every chance up until the game, so yeah, we'll see what happens.
Well, the Dolphins won't be Queensland's only victorious team after this weekend. Saturday night in Townsville, it's the Cowboys hosting the Titans, a must-win derby for under pressure North Queensland coach Todd Payten.
It's frustrating, and I know as a playing group and as a coach and staff, we are disappointed from the first two games, and but it's important that we look at them closely, and we've done that.
Certainly looking forward to the next 2 weeks, being here at home in front of our fans. Played well and performed well, and give a bit back to the community, and put the past couple of weeks behind us.
Men, there were plenty at the end of last year who speculated that Josh Hannay might have even taken over from Todd Payten at his old club instead of landing at the Titans.
Yeah, Todd Payten seriously under the pump, boys. No doubt about that. A lot of talk about him moving on. Not real sure. But all I know is that paper-thin defence on the weekend against the Tigers, that's one of the softest tries I've ever seen. So hopefully they can sort that out. Josh Hannay, I think he deserves a lot more time than what he's got at the moment.
Well, Gilly, I don't think Todd Payten's going to be given a lot more time, and nor should he, to be honest. Coaching is about results, and quite clearly Todd Payten has stopped being able to get those results. The Cowboys are going to give him another couple of weeks, and rightly they should. But if he can't turn around in dramatic fashion, Rowan, I'd have to say that Todd Payten's days are numbered as Cowboys coach.
Yeah, the two sides who need a drastic reversal in form. That's NRL Insider for this week.
Thank you, gentlemen. Reg skipper Fraser McWright and playmaker Carter Gordon have been rested from the trip to Fiji, but there's still no sign of Tom Liner. With Harry McLaughlin-Phillips back at fly half and Fijian international Ben Volavola to make his Queensland debut off the bench against the Drua. Jock Campbell earns his 100th cap. Not bad for someone who couldn't make Southport's first 15.
No, it's cool. I guess I said this before, I think other people think my story's cooler than probably myself. I just sort of play footy, at school and at UQ just for good fun. And
Harry Wilson takes over as captain. The Matildas are 1 win away from their first trophy since 2010 after defeating China 2-1 in Perth. The brilliance of captain Sam Kerr sealing their spot in the Asian Cup final.
Great run from Sam Kerr. She can just reach the touch. The return pass, well, that's perfection.
The Matildas play the winner of tonight's clash between Japan and South Korea. He's been charged with weaving some magic as the Bullets' new coach. Will Weaver comes with a big reputation as former Boomers assistant with NBA experience. He'll need it all to turn around last season's wooden spooners.
The form that it takes, on the timing that it takes to make sure that we end up with a group of humans that are all pointed in the same direction and ready to represent the city of Brisbane in a good way.
We've previously worked with Houston, Philly and the Nets in the US. Champion jockey James McDonald is tipped to create history at Rose Hill on Saturday. J-Mac will ride in 5 Group 1 races, including on the unbeaten Autumn Glow in the $1 million George Ryder Stakes, plus Fireball in the $5 million Golden Slipper. The 34-year-old is only 2 wins away from breaking Damien Oliver's record of 129 Group 1 victories.
I haven't even thought about it, to be honest with you. It's going to be lovely to get there, I suppose.
You can watch Saturday's Golden Slipper meeting live and free on 7. On 7 tonight, you can watch the Front Bar and Unfiltered must watch.
Good stuff. Thank you, Steve. Well, it's a devastating disorder that strikes mums without warning. But what if doctors could predict postpartum depression before it happens?
A Queensland scientist believes she's done just that. With a world-first test she hopes could even prevent it.
By the time mothers learn they have it, it's often too late to do much about it.
Like a ton of bricks that fell on me. I just didn't know where to go.
Postpartum depression, the thief of joy bursting the newborn baby bubble. If a test could tell you before having a child, would you take it?
When can I take it? I'm a very data-driven person, and having as much knowledge available to me is power.
The partners themselves who come to me and say, even if my partner or my wife doesn't want to know, I want to know because I want to be able to be there for her.
Dr. Clarissa Yates is a scientist and a mother who went through this twice and wanted to know why.
I was trying to understand the relationship between the brain and the blood.
By analysing blood samples from pregnant women at the Mater Hospital, she identified a panel of 12 proteins that predict postpartum depression with 94% accuracy. Now work is underway to turn those findings into a mainstream routine blood test so women will know if they're at risk from as early as 6 months pregnant.
If these mums are flagged early in their pregnancy, they may not go on to develop postpartum depression. A lot of the interventions you can do is really quite simple.
The research has been funded by investors and the Queensland Government. The test could be available as early as next year. For women pregnant now, further trials are underway. To find out more, the details are on our Facebook page. Amanda Abate, 7 News.
A Brisbane man with sky-high hopes. Can he climb Mount Everest in world record time? That's in Sunnyside, just ahead.
And Cyclone Narelle continues to close in on the tropics with heavy rain continuing out west. I'll have the forecast and latest warnings after the break.
Getting extra help with schoolwork for a fraction of the price. The Super Tutor Revolution, changing how kids learn.
Any tutoring will be a huge benefit, not only to the students but also the parents.
How online tutoring can save parents thousands, but do the results stack up? 7 News tomorrow.
Good evening, Queensland. Checking your weather now, and I'll jump straight to now severe tropical cyclone Narelle. She's just been upgraded to a Category 3 system and sits just under 800 kilometres away from the Queensland coast. The forecast path hasn't changed much. Narelle should get to Category 4 tonight or tomorrow while continuing to barrel west towards the Queensland coast. There is a window of opportunity to get to Category 5 before a likely landfall near Cohen on Friday morning. A cyclone warning has now been issued from Cape Tribulation to Lockhart River, with a less urgent cyclone watch also extending further west towards the Gulf of Carpentaria, and flood watches are current further south towards Ingham. Now, after landfall, Narelle should weaken briefly before then likely re-intensifying over the Gulf and continuing west. She should eventually redevelop off the West Australian coast into next week. Long living. In the meantime, we also have severe weather warnings current for far western Queensland as heavy rain continues to worsen flooding in normally desert areas. Around the capitals tomorrow, frequent showers continue in Sydney after heavy rain for parts of the harbour city this morning. Canberra could also get an afternoon storm. In the tropics tomorrow, winds really ramping up north of Cairns late in the day with squally showers increasing to rain, potentially down towards Ingham. Please keep on top of the forecasts and warnings for the next few days if you are in this area. Heading south, a few showers also starting to pick up for the coast and ranges and pushing inland to around St George as well, a top of 29. In the southeast, showers pick up a little bit. They should be locked to the coast early, then push inland from late morning with the odd storm inland in the mix too. A touch cooler, 19 to just 27 degrees in Mount Gravatt, with similar maximums by the Bayside, 27 in Sandgate. Boaties, light winds on Moreton Bay, easterlies below 10 knots, and that will keep seas under a metre. So in the River City, a few showers, most likely from late morning onwards, but it couldn't hurt to keep the brolly handy early as well, 21 up to 28 degrees. And looking ahead, a few showers lingering on Friday, then redeveloping on Saturday afternoon after a mostly dry morning. Now, Saturday is the autumn equinox. Days will be getting shorter than nights soon. In Ipswich, a couple of showers on Friday with the chance of an afternoon storm on Saturday, 29 degrees. Gold Coasters, no completely dry days for the next week. Saturday, Sunday and Monday are looking wettest with plenty of showers. And on the Sunshine Coast, shower icons also as far as the eye can see. Your best bet at some dry breaks on the weekend will be Saturday and Sunday mornings. Now, guys, this time tomorrow, Cyclone Narelle will start making a presence felt on that North Queensland coast.
They know the drill up there, so I'm sure they're all ready. OK, thanks, Tony.
Now here's Sam with Sunnyside.
Tonight on Sunnyside, the Brisbane man attempting to break the world record time for climbing Mount Everest and saving lives along the way. He's a man with an extraordinary mission. Next week, Oliver Foran will fly out to begin the fastest climb of Mount Everest from sea level in history. 1,300 kilometres of cycling, trekking and climbing from the shores of India to the highest point on Earth.
On the way through, we'll climb Merah Peak, which is a 6,500 metre peak.
It's been done twice before, but Oliver wants to do it in under 60 days. The 6-month training regime is to get his body used to less oxygen.
I'd be doing the same exercises like lunges or on the echo bike, but I would be doing it while holding my breath.
The 27-year-old is raising money for U-Turn and their U-Connect gyms.
I just think these gyms would have been something that I would have wanted when I was going through my struggles.
You can keep up with Oliver's progress on the Climbing for Young Minds website's live tracker.
You'll be actually able to follow me from about 2 metres above my head on a 3D map, the whole expedition.
With him every gruelling step of the way.
Good luck. And that's all from us this Wednesday.
Have a great night.
Good night.